You said something 20 minutes ago. The conversation is over. The other person has already moved on. But you never left that room. The other person is thinking about dinner right now. Maybe traffic. Maybe nothing at all. The conversation dissolved for them the moment it ended. But you are still there, still inside that moment, still standing in a room that no longer exists anywhere except inside your own mind. You are replaying the exact words you chose, weighing every syllable, turning each sentence over slowly, looking for the thing that might have gone wrong. Would a different sentence have landed better? Would silence have been the smarter choice? You run both versions, and neither one feels like enough. You press your ear against the wall of their silence, searching for something they never actually said, listening for a message that may not even be there. This is not paranoia. This is not a character flaw, and it is not something you sat down one day and decided to do to yourself. It is a pattern, quiet and invisible and older than you realize, running in the background long before you ever noticed it was there. If any part of this sounds familiar, if you recognize yourself in even one of those sentences, then this video was made specifically for you. There is a kind of exhaustion that has nothing to do with how much you slept. It lives entirely inside the mind, and it follows you everywhere. You live every conversation twice, once out loud in real time with another person, and once again alone in the silence that comes after. The room is quiet now. The phone is face down on the table, and yet the conversation is still going, louder inside than it ever was out loud. Most people finish a conversation and let it dissolve naturally. It happened, it ended, they moved forward. You have never quite learned how to do that. There is always one door left slightly open. One specific moment you keep returning to without meaning to, without choosing to, without being able to stop. The moment the external noise dies down, it swings open again, automatically, as if it has been waiting for the quiet all along. In the shower, at 3 in the morning, in the middle of a completely unrelated task. It does not wait for a convenient time to return. Something pulls you back into it. A word, a sound, a small silence, and suddenly you are there again, fully inside a moment that already passed. You rewind. You reconstruct the scene from memory. You examine every frame slowly, looking for the detail you might have overlooked the first time. A pause that lasted half a second too long. You registered it immediately. You filed it away, and some part of you is still holding it right now. One word they use that they do not usually use. Your mind circled it the moment it arrived. It has not uncircled it since. To anyone else in that conversation, these things were completely invisible. Background noise, details too small to register or remember. But to you, they were data points, meaningful ones. And your mind does not have an off switch for data that feels unresolved. Did you say too much or too little? The scale tips back and forth and never finds its balance. Both answers feel equally wrong. Too direct or too vague, too open or too guarded. Neither version of yourself in that conversation feels quite right when you replay it. Something always seems to get lost between what you meant and what they actually heard. And that gap is where the anxiety lives. Beneath all the smaller questions, the ones about tone and timing and word choice, there is one deeper question underneath all of them. Am I okay in their eyes? That is what this has always been about. Every replay, every analysis, every late-night loop leads back to that one question. Overthinking conversations was never really about the conversation itself. It was always about connection. About needing to know the connection is still intact. About the specific fear that lives in the gap between your intention and another person's perception of it. That gap you cannot see into or control. You send something real across that gap, something honest, and now it belongs to their interpretation entirely. And you have no say in what happens there. The mind believes that if it thinks carefully enough, thoroughly enough, long enough, it will eventually locate the answer it is looking for. But it never does. The blackboard fills completely with analysis, and at the center of all of it, the question mark is still there, unchanged. Psychologists call this post-event processing, a review loop the brain runs automatically in the aftermath of social interaction. For most people, this loop runs briefly and then powers down on its own. For some minds, it stays active long after it was supposed to stop. The more intensely you search for the thing that feels threatening, the more the searching itself begins to generate the threat from nothing. Every time you loop back through the memory, the image becomes slightly more distorted. You see the original moment less clearly with each pass, and so the mind draws the only logical conclusion it can reach. It simply has not thought about this carefully enough yet, so it continues thinking. At a certain point, you stop reviewing the conversation entirely. Without realizing it, you have shifted to reviewing something else. You are reviewing yourself. your patterns, your tendencies, the particular way you always seem to handle this one kind of moment, the version of yourself you keep returning to. You want to be received accurately. You want to exist in their mind as the version of yourself you were genuinely trying to present in that moment. That hunger to be understood correctly, to be seen as you actually are, that is not a weakness. It is one of the most deeply human things about you. People who replay conversations obsessively are not self-absorbed. They are self-protective. There is an important difference between those two things. They examine themselves the way a person carefully tends to a wound, with close attention and genuine concern, not out of vanity, but out of care. These are often the same people who sense when someone else is hurting long before a single word has been spoken about it. That sensitivity runs deep. The problem was never that you feel too much. The problem is simply that no one ever showed you what to do with that much feeling once the conversation ended. So you carried it, quietly and alone, further than anyone around you ever realized, for longer than anyone thought to ask you about. And over time, without ever consciously deciding to, carrying it became the pattern, the only response that felt like it made any sense. You did not choose the loop because you were afraid. You chose it because reviewing felt like the responsible thing, like the careful thing, like the right thing, like leaving a place and then going back to check that the door was properly locked. You always went back, every single time, just to be sure. You held on because releasing felt far more dangerous than the exhaustion of holding. Letting go looked like an open edge you could not see the bottom of. The shift does not begin with thinking less. It begins with something quieter than that. It begins with understanding what all the thinking was actually trying to do. Every single loop was the mind searching for one specific thing: safety, confirmation that the connection survived. That was all it ever wanted to find. You are not broken. You are not too much. The places where you have bent and cracked are not damage. They are the most honest parts of your history. You are someone who cares deeply and carefully about how you exist in relation to the people around you. That quality is genuinely rare. Do not lose it. There is a way forward that does not require force. There is a bridge out of the loop. It has been there longer than you knew. You are allowed to take it. Pull your attention gently out of the past conversation. Place it somewhere real and present. Your breath, the weight of your body, this exact moment right now. Learn to sit beside the unanswered question without immediately reaching for it. That stillness is not avoidance. It is the beginning of something that actually heals. Most people are not replaying your words the way you are replaying them. They received the moment, they moved through it, and they moved on before you even started. Let the door close behind you. The conversation is finished. It belongs to the past now. And you, all of you, are allowed to walk away from it completely. If this felt familiar, if you recognized yourself somewhere inside this, you are not alone in it. There are far more people on this road than you have ever been told. If this video found you at the right moment, subscribe. There is more here for you. And if something in this video reflected a part of your experience, leave it in the comments. Your words might be the exact thing someone else needed to read today to feel a little less alone in their own mind.